She just goes, "Oh, Neil Reynolds, he's got the most beautiful eyes."
Oh, no.
Are we ready to go? We're recording now.
Oh, God, that was good. That's
right.
in there.
Okay. So, welcome to a wet, wintry Broadhurst Park. It's Gainsborough Trinity against FC United Manchester today, and it's our first, actually second attempt after many years at FCUM TV Live does It'll Be Off. And you've got myself, Keg, Swampy, and FC United manager Neil Reynolds. Thanks for joining us, Neil. Swampy.
Good afternoon.
Afternoon.
So as it's our first one of these of the season, our first attempts, what we'd like to do, Neil, is review the season so far, if that's okay.
Yeah, absolutely. It's probably we're probably doing better than what I expected. If the truth be known, we had a points total set aside for going into November, and we were ahead of schedule. You know, when you pretty much get rid of the whole squad and you bring in a new squad, not only you bring in an ability, but like I've said during pre-season, and now it takes time for lads to gel, get to know each other, but also face different setbacks. So pre-season was great, and it was win after win after win, and maybe the odd setback, and then we start the season, and with 3 straight defeats, and all of a sudden you start to find out about people's characters and about how different people, how it affects different people. But delighted to say, after the first 3 games, and in particular the high game at home that we lost, I saw real quality in the squad, and that squad have really kicked on. After the Scarborough game at home, the defeat, there was certain things said, and people were questioned, but I never lost faith in what we had. We knew that we had injury problems at the front end, and I was trying to rectify that. And then after the 5th game of the season, we knew that Tunde Olabi was landing back in the country, and we made him a signing. And it's not just Tunde, but the whole squad now have adapted to the way I like to play football, and we're doing really well. So I'm pleased with it.
Swampy, your comment?
Yeah, I think, if you look at the first 3 games of the season, from a footballing perspective, there was lots of positives to take. The first away game of the season, I thought we were very unlucky. 20 minutes of really just shutting off, but you could see the quality in the way we played for that, certainly that first 45 minutes. And those first 3 games, you could see the potential of the team, but then you rightly say you had to change things around a little bit. But how important is it to lose a top striker that, as we had, lost 2 top strikers at the beginning of the season, not kicked a ball yet in any form of venom, and be able to bring in someone with the quality of Tunde that galvanises the team and the squad and the club in general?
I think with the formation that I like to play, and it's well documented, the 4-2-3-1 or 4-1-2-3-1, whichever way you want to dress it up, you're reliant on a good 9, and when you lose the likes of Chris Holman and Louis Myers and Mike Donoghue was an attacking player, we'd done so much work in pre-season on our shape and how we were going to go through the lines and work into the front man to bounce off him to get the next chances. So it's really hard. And the high game here, 27 chances, 81% possession, 520 odd passes to their 260, to come off and lose the way we did was really disappointing. And I think that hit us hard. Going into the Scarborough game where I don't think we made our chance in the game. We maybe made 2 where Charlie could have scored, but for me, there was nothing wrong with what we were doing behind that. It was just really important we found the 9, and we were doing everything we could do to find one. And when we talked about Tunde landing back in the country, it was the first phone call that I made, and for him to come in and with his character, his pace, his ability, he hit the ground running with 2 goals on his debut against Morpeth, and kind of the rest is taking care of itself. But for the squad, they were desperate for us to bring in a number 9 who will score goals, because we're going to be a team that creates a lot of chances, and certainly when you create a lot, you expect to score a lot as well, and that wasn't happening at the start of the season. But thankfully, likes of Buxton, etc., Morpeth, the ball's finding the back of the net now.
From a point of view of players in and out, injuries, etc., over the last, we're about a quarter of the way through the season now. Are things starting to settle down now? Do you have a first 11, for instance? Yeah,
I do. We've been unfortunate to lose Paddy. Paddy was exceptional.
Yeah.
The injury, the season's best kept secret. He tweaked his medial ligaments outside of football. We were going to send him for a scan. He's on the mend. He was training Tuesday. He was training Thursday. He's going to be back in full training in 2 weeks and probably available selection in 4 weeks. But when we just had Paddy, that's when I swooped for Cameron. Because I knew that we needed quality in behind that, and Cam was patient. He's come in the last 5 games. I think he's been exceptional. So we're looking forward to getting Paddy back. In front of that, I think it takes care of itself now. Aaron Morris has made it his own. Doyle and Jones and Dodd at left back. And you've seen with the players that we've had to move out on loan, the likes of James Joyce, who I believe is probably the second best left back in the league, but just couldn't dislodge Dodd. So in front of that, Griffiths, he's really made that quarterback role his own. Although he's out suspended today, Jack Lenihan steps in. Potts has been instrumental. And then, we've got Curran on loan. Wide areas, you've got Tunde, you've got Regan Linney, and then Jordan Buckley, who's been immense for us. But in behind that, you've got like Donishue, Charlie Ennis, Louis Mays is coming back to fitness. So, we've really got options, but we're now a small squad because, in pre-season we had 23, 24, but you've seen with the work that I've had to do in the last couple of weeks, letting players go, Carney, Dean, Sharp, to name a few. Players aren't just going to sit around and be happy when they're not playing. So, we're forever looking to improve the squad if we can.
Yep.
I'm on the lookout now. We brought Ash Young in last week, but probably, I'm looking for another defender now to bolster the squad and probably another attacking option as well. We've got a really exciting prospect training with us this week who knows this level and the one above extremely well.
So from a point of view of injuries, because it's, as you've probably seen, it's something that gets asked plenty of times on the forum, something the support want to know about. What's the general overview of players with injuries and how long they'll be out at the moment?
I think, being a player myself, once you start that first pre-season training session, you're never 100% fit throughout the season. There's always something that's slightly aching and niggling. I've had to patch up Doyle today, to get through after having stitches in midweek. We've patched up Potts. We've got Buckley patched up with his knee today. But that's part and parcel of football. I think in terms of, long injuries, you got Chrissy Ullman who won't kick a ball again this season, but we're hoping we're back next season. Myers is coming back. But it's just making sure that the lads are fit and ready to go. And I've got to compliment Olivia Smith, my physio. I did on the radio last night. She's done a sterling job as she does week in, week out to get these lads back to fitness. Either frustratingly at times when they can't train, so I can't get them on the training park. But that's all in preparation for a Saturday. At non-league football, it is hard to keep everybody 100% fit all the time. It's also hard to keep people happy when they're on the bench and they're not playing. But I think everyone's bought into what we're trying to achieve. So the injuries on the injury front, I think we're quite fortunate at the minute. We haven't got anything majorly serious apart from Chrissy Ullman.
From a footballing perspective, we are now fifth in the division. We know that today's result can hopefully bridge a gap if other teams below us sort of don't pick up the points. But from a perspective of performance, I think it's true to say that we've been quite patchy. 45 minutes of good quality and then 45 minutes of indifferent football. But in the last month or so, you've been getting that 80, 90% throughout the whole game from your team and from your players. And players are now starting to put in performances of 8s and 9s and 7s rather than, in previous month, maybe 6s and 5s and 6s. So you've got to be impressed with that. Is that because of the gelling together even more, or is it all the hard work again done on the training pitch?
I mean, the lads are gelling, but there's a lot of work that goes on the training pitch, and sometimes Swamping, when you're behind me on the radio, you can hear my philosophy about two-touch football, and it's not, it's not something about that I have OCD about. The reason why I say that is because the minute you have more than 2 or 3, pitches change in front of you. So, when Jack receives a ball off the back 2 today, he's got to play quickly. Otherwise, if he delays his pass, then they go and squeeze us, they press us, and the last few weeks in particular, we've been moving the ball well. We've been playing through the lines, or playing through the thirds in what I call, and we're creating chances at the top end of the pitch. But we religiously work on that on the training ground. We have done since pre-season. It wasn't just about running, it was about how we are in possession and how we are out of possession, and that's what the pods do for us. It analyses, our heat maps and where we do hard work and where we don't, how much running we cover over a game, how many sprint speeds we get up to. So there's a lot of work that goes into match day, not just not just the stuff on the training ground, but the stuff in behind that. But I'm delighted the way it's coming together. Like I said at the start of the interview, I didn't expect to be 5th, but now you look at 5th today. If High can go to Warrington and get something, we can overturn Gainsborough today. We go above them, and if Matlock drop points below us, then there's a gap between us and Matlock. So it's all to play for, to be honest.
One thing that we know about you, sorry, Keg,
That's right.
but one thing we know about you, you've got a philosophy of football. I saw that when you were at Bamber, and you've brought that to FC United of Manchester. But you've been able to adapt this season because we've had to adapt in certain games, certain pitches. You can't play the football that we want to play week in, week out. And how pleased are you the players now are able to adapt to a different form of football when we come up against certain teams and also certain pitches?
And that's a really important point. For as much as I enjoy winning, we have to enjoy winning ugly sometimes, and going to Atherton under the conditions that we did 2 weeks ago, that shows a different character, a different side of us, and that which pleases me even more. And you go to the likes of Radcliffe, it is. But we're saying to the lads that, it's a test of character now. It's not just about a test of ability, it's, mental side, and I'm big into the psychological side of football, and if you turn up for a game and you don't see Broadhurst Park, or you don't see, that really nice green football pitch, where's your mind at? I know what I do. I prepare the games prepare the lads for games the same way every week, you know, despite the playing condition. And you're seeing that now. You know, we're not always going to play at Broadhurst Park. We're going to have to go to different pitches. But, you know, the mental character, the togetherness out there, wherever we go now, we want to win. We want to win. And, you know, just touching on that, you know, to have the best away league record in the division is something to boast about.
Absolutely,
and, you know, that's playing away from here. So that says a lot about the lads' characters and mental toughness.
So just before we come on to Gainsborough today itself, just one final point to make about the squad and management of the squad is contracts. I don't want to obviously go into detail, but as I said, we're a quarter way into the season. Your side settling down. Is that something that's starting to cross your desk now, thinking about that kind of side of it?
I mean, I will say I'm very transparent. We've been working really hard over the last 2 weeks to put someone on contract in the current squad. Unfortunately, our finances haven't been able to meet the demands of the player, and I think it's not fair for me to mention that player. But you know, we are where we are. You know, I've been on record. I thought, you know, I'm talking to people every week now, and we're probably sitting third or fourth poorest budget in the league. You know, and that's a fact now. You know, people don't believe that when they come on here, but it's an absolute fact. You know, we pay a gross budget. It's a low budget, and I can't get lads to commit the time for the contract on the money that we're paying at the minute. And it's, you know, gone are the days maybe that people have got a job. Some people at this level now don't have a job and want the best deal for them, and they don't want to tie themselves down to a contract because another club may come in for them. You know, so people could probably guess who we've been talking to, but we haven't been able to get that deal over the line. I think the other one who will attract a lot of interest is Luke Griffiths. And, you know, if he carries on putting in performances, as everybody, then we'll look to do something.
But I suppose it's very important, and the squad itself and the players themselves and the way they've gelled and the camaraderie you have, sometimes that helps because the way you philosophise about the game and the way you want to run the football club and the players themselves, they're all equally responsible for everything, and they're all pretty much, you know, the money is spread across everybody. There's no one player on a huge amount of money and there's someone else on 50 quid. No. You've actually brought in a mentality that they're all in it together, and if the goalkeeper makes a penalty save and the centre forward scores the winning goal, they're all pretty much on the same wage anyway, so there's no, for want of a better word, Billy Big Balls.
Well, you know,
it's a real club thing, isn't it?
Listen, I took a picture of the squad list last week that has the money down the side of it, and it goes on the WhatsApp group. There's no anything hidden here. You know, they know there's transparency. Potts is 27, 28. Captain, he gets 30 quid more than maybe the person at the side of him. They all buy into that. You know, there isn't a huge 375 player and a £60 player. We're all in a tight scale of each other. Talking about me personally, you know, there's been a little bit of rumour over the last couple of weeks. There's a couple of clubs knocking around. I couldn't think of anywhere better to spend my managerial time than here. And that echoes back onto the playing side as well. As a professional club, and you look at the facilities around us, the fan base, why would you want to go anywhere else? And, you know, for me, them lads aren't on contract, but they might get offered an extra £100 that, you know, they'll disrespect to maybe a Lancaster or Atherton. But would you really want to leave here with what we've got at the minute? And we can't take that for granted. Yeah. But I also had a line in pre-season, and I'll carry on using it as long as I'm in charge. It'll be the last time that a player ever dictates to FC United, as long as I'm in charge, we'll dictate to the players. And, you know, once the time comes that we're ready for maybe a contract to be offered, then we'll dictate the terms. And if we can't agree to it, we can't agree to it. But we have a rigid structure, and, you know, that's what I do.
But you've also seen very briefly, you've seen what being at this football club could mean to players who've gone on somewhere else. And we saw Elliot Simoes again playing last night for Barnsley, coming on, actually laying on the equalising goal. So if you stick here and you play your good football and you enjoy playing here, there are opportunities to even go higher out of non-league football into the professional game. And
you've got to stick to your beliefs as well. You know, I managed a relatively small club before here, and, you know, at Bamber, and, you know, we managed to get promotion. We managed to win a cup, you know, and I've moved away from Bamber now, and unfortunately, you know, fortunately they just survived last season. This season, you know, the routes to the bottom of the league, and it's things that you do behind the scenes as well. And like you've just said there, it's what you create in there. And it's, you know, Bamber Bridge wasn't FC United, but we created something special in there. We've certainly created something special here in the infrastructure that we've got now. So it's making sure that we don't take that for granted. And the lads know that they're very fortunate to play here, because, you know, there's lots of people that want to play that football, but them lads deserve to be here at the minute, and I'm looking forward to the journey that we create with them over the next few years.
So going on to the game today against Gainsborough Trinity. Yeah. Difficult conditions, heavy rain, probably wet, slippery pitch. How are you going to approach it?
We're going to approach it the same as we do every other game. You know, there's a couple of external factors that take place for today's game. It's Curtis Woodhouse's, you know, first league game in charge of Gainsborough. He took charge of the cup game in midweek and they won 4-0. no doubt he's going to say to the lads in the dressing room, you're playing in front of a wonderful service, in front of a wonderful crowd. But if you disappoint me today, your days are numbers at the club. So everyone's going to probably raise the games differently than what they would normally do to impress the manager. They've brought in one of our old players in Lloyd Allinson today, which no doubt he'll want to prove a few doubters wrong. What happened last season. So there's a few external factors that take place. But for us, we're going to prepare the same way we have done this week in training. Our recovery session Wednesday, we're in Thursday. The warm-up will be the same. The team talk has been the same. The way we organise set piece has been the same. They put the pods on, and we've got a style of playing. No doubt, games will try and stop that. But we have a saying that we never fear any opposition. We always respect them. We respect games with today. But the run that we're on, I expect to win today, and I'm not being arrogant by saying that. I expect to win.
As you say, the main thing today is Gainsborough 2 wins in 13 in the league. But that big win during the week, it's the bounce back with the new manager, isn't it, really? Yeah,
of course it is. And, Gainsborough, if you look at Gainsborough on paper, like Sir Gav Hallett up top, they've got a good side. Lloyd Allinson, Conference North keeper, they're going to be a good side. And before Curtis took over the side, I thought they were underperforming. I'm not sure what happened in their dressing room, but I went to go and watch them a couple of weeks ago when they beat Bamber Bridge 4-1. They did really well. They looked a good side, and then the week after, they got beat 3-0. So there was something fundamentally wrong. I'm not sure what that is, but I think Curtis has inherited a good squad, and he's made some good signings this week. Yeah. So for me, I don't look at a league table, because if we get beat today and results go against us, then we could drop down to 10th quite easily, and these can jump up to about 7th from bottom. So it's one of them. I stand by it. I think anyone can beat anybody in this league. Bamber Bridge came here the other week and gave a really good account of themselves. Probably should have got something. They didn't, and now they find themselves bottom of the league. So we won't take these for granted today, but we haven't changed our preparation, and the lads have got a mentality which is instilled in them that we win games of football, and that's no different from that today.
Well, I think our time is up,
yes.
Unfortunately.
Thank you very much for joining us.
Great talking to get insights into a managerial perspective and also from a player's perspective. And good luck this afternoon. And we'll be talking to you on FC Radio a little later on, hopefully after the game. And hopefully it's 3 points. But again, it's a matter of performance. And let's see what we can do today.
Brilliant. Thanks guys. Really enjoyed it.
Thanks
Thank you.
Lot, Swampy.
Cheers.
Join us again, everyone.
Thank you.